Say hey, buddies. Today I'm coming at you with something that we've never done before. I'm a big fan of the subreddit Design My Room. It's kind of just a place where people go to ask for advice, or sometimes even like post things that they've done to their space that they want to show other people. I love going through there and just seeing what other people's spaces look like and things that they're having trouble with, because I think it's a lot easier to figure out what you would do with somebody else's space than it is to figure out what you would do with your own, just because there's a removal of personal attachment. I found some places on this subreddit that I was really interested in that I kind of wanted to give my advice on, or my take on. The way that this is gonna work is I'm gonna show you the space that I'm gonna be designing, and then I'm gonna use my iPad, my trusty dusty iPad. It is dusty, actually. It collects a lot of dust. I'm gonna use it to really roughly and probably crappily Photoshop what I was thinking. Also, this is like so incredibly personal. So if you don't like it, that's fine. It's just kind of my take on it, and it's gonna be in my style. None of these people really mentioned what they're going for, so I can't really go in the direction of what they want. I'm just gonna do what I would do if I was there and had free range. We are gonna start with this kitchen. If I'm remembering correctly, the original post said that they didn't like anything about it, that it was ugly and outdated. I know that a lot of people would probably have that opinion about this because of the wood cabinets and the flooring's like technically outdated. I don't really care. I think it's sweet and cute. There are a few things I would do though to kind of like cozy this up, just make it look more personal. I really don't think there's anything wrong with it at the base of it. There's like a design flaw of the fact that the fridge does not fit. It is way too big. I don't even think you could open that door all the way. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. I'm gonna start with lighting. If you know anything about me, you already know what I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna say add a little lamp to the corner. I think you could also add some under cabinet lighting, depending on how many outlets you have. Because I see this one in the middle right here, but if that's the only outlet that's in there, it's probably not good to use that up with the under cabinet lighting. Plus, I think a lamp would be enough, especially because I imagine that there's a stove right next to the fridge. I can't see it, but I'm pretty sure there is one. So if you're gonna be prepping and stuff right there in that middle part where the outlet is, then you really don't need to have under cabinet lighting. I just think it could be useful. I'm also gonna say you should add a piece of art up there on that little ledge. I'm gonna say it should be the same shape as that little ledge because it'll just look better, but really it could be any size. To bring a textile into here, I'm going to say right in front of the sink, get one of those little cabinet hook thingies where you can put a hand towel, probably in a lighter color, just to brighten up the area a little bit, because you know the wood is overbearing and there's so many neutral medium colors in this room that I think adding something lighter would probably look good. I don't hate that overhead light. And also, I don't like telling other people that they should change out their light fixtures because, like I've said before, I don't do that. But I do think, because there's not a lot going on here and there's not a lot of space to work with, you could switch out that overhead light for something more interesting. And you really wouldn't need to change much else because that would be such a focal point. The side of this fridge is pretty bare, and it's like a massive part of the kitchen when you're looking at it. So it could be fun to add some art. It could be a bunch of little pictures. It could be one bigger picture. I'm gonna put one bigger picture just to make it easier on myself. I think given how small this kitchen is, that's really a pretty good base to go off of. You don't really need much else in there. It'll start looking cluttered pretty quickly. But to add a little bit of color or a little bit of something extra, you could put a fruit bowl on the counter. Or if that doesn't work for you and you just hate eating fruit, you could also add a little speaker there because they've already got a speaker by the sink. That may have just been because they were doing stuff around the house in that moment and put that speaker there, but also I imagine you like listening to music, so having a little speaker in the kitchen could be nice. I use my little speaker in my kitchen all the time. As for the space that we can't see, there's a lot of storage in here, but I think it could be cool to hang some of your cooking utensils over the stove. That would save countertop space. And it also just looks nice sometimes, especially if you have like stainless steel ones or like wooden utensils could look good. Adding little art over the sink could be cute, or over the stove if you don't go for the utensil hanging thing. And yeah, besides that, I think it's good. I don't really think anything else needs to be done in here. If this is a rental, I mean, if it's not a rental, I would have other things to say, like maybe include a backsplash because walls could get disgusting. And maybe even painting the walls a different color could be nice, but I don't know if this is a rental or if somebody owns this place. That was pretty quick. Huh? I feel like it was. How long have I been doing this for? 20 minutes? Yeah, that's not bad. This next one is actually super cool because of this painting. I want that. Where did you even get that from? That's cool. So that I would just keep right there. I don't think it needs to go anywhere. I think it's good exactly where it's at. The other things I would recommend though. Number one, get those dumbbells off the floor. Number two, get a more substantial bed frame. Something that just looks a little bit heavier. The next thing is that I would change out that side table. I do actually really like the color of that side table because it plays off of the picture really well, but it's just kind of too small. I think it would look good with two bigger side tables to kind of make it look like one piece. This one that's already in this space has two drawers, and I'm gonna leave it like that. I think it would look good to have like a full solid piece on each side. I like the little vase of leaves that are on that one table to be able to continue putting things on the table like that. I'm gonna say I would go for sconces instead of table lamps. That way the tables could be styled. I'm also gonna add a rug in here. It would be nice to add some texture on the floor. Something simple. I don't think it needs to be super patterned because I'm gonna go kind of patterned with the bedding. So maybe like a camel color playing off of that picture on the wall would be pretty. Or even like something with a really not overbearing stripe. Or even, dare I say, like an animal print rug if you want to get really insane with it. I don't think that's necessary. As for the bedding, I want to throw some pattern in. I'm gonna say for this blanket at the bottom of the bed, you could get something maybe striped if the rug isn't striped. I think it could get a little crazy if the rug is striped, so it depends on that because this is a small space and you don't want to get too crazy with pattern unless you do. For the bedding itself, the colors on there really do look fine, but I'm gonna say I think leaning in a little bit darker of a direction could look good, just a little bit. I'm not talking dark, nothing too saturated, but kind of in that range, something warm. Is that thunder? As for the pillows, for the two in the back, I'm gonna say go for a light color. Whatever color the rug is, I think would be nice to tie in through those pillows in the back. For this pillow in the front, I think we can just go ahead and get rid of that and replace it with a smaller pillow of some sort. Maybe that's a lumbar, maybe that's a little square pillow. I think a lumbar would look best, so I'm gonna put a lumbar in here. But really just anything smaller to kind of break up the shape that's going on because those other pillows are the exact same shape as that one in the front and they're all competing with each other. And I think that's really all I'm gonna do. You could also add some more wall art, but I don't think you need to do that just because there's already sconces in what I've done. But yeah, I think this would look super good if I can edit this in the way that I'm imagining. The next one came with multiple pictures, whereas the other two didn't, I don't think. I'm not doing multiple pictures of this room. I can't. I'm gonna lose it trying to make them all look the same. So I'm just gonna go with the one that shows the most room, which is this one. If I'm remembering the description right, this was a student that had just moved into student housing. This is the student housing. The room came with this furniture, so they don't have to keep it, I assume. I'm gonna keep the cabinet because they actually mentioned that in the description. They said that they had moved this cabinet in between those windows, and I am going to recommend moving it away from the middle of those windows. Something about that cabinet being there isn't doing it for me. I think it's like cutting off some of the light. So there's this little corner over here next to this window that's on the left, and I'm gonna say move that cabinet into that corner because it looks like that corner is the perfect depth for the cabinet. This window on the right side is touching the wall, so it might kind of balance it out a little bit to put that cabinet there. It'll fill up a lot of that space and make the windows look less like off-centered. Again, since this is a student's room, we're gonna need a bed in here. We're also probably gonna need a desk. We're gonna need probably a little like hangout area. I don't know, it kind of depends on the student, but I think it would be nice to have a little hangout area. So those things all need to be considered. With those in mind, I'm going to say that little trundle bed thingy has some storage underneath it. So I think that something like that could be very useful. It also kind of looks like it would fit perfectly on that wall still, even if you moved that cabinet over. I'm gonna recommend that. Maybe not that specific bed just because I don't know if I'm vibing with the white, but if you're like strapped for money or whatever, which a lot of students are, you keep that, just scoot it down the wall a little. And there is gonna be a little bit of an awkward space if that's not a 90-degree angled corner, like I imagine it's not. It just doesn't look like it is. I'm gonna recommend putting a little pedestal table situation right there between the wall and that bed to kind of fill that gap. I think it'd be nice if it was rounded because there's a lot of rectangular stuff going on over there. Hopefully there's an outlet because I am putting a sconce up just to give some extra lighting. I'm also gonna say add a little rug, not for the entire room, just to kind of section off the sleeping area. I'm gonna add a little picture up there on the wall above the bed. Could be nice to have some shelves and fill up that wall a little bit more. It's not necessary. You don't need to. A little bit of resting space for your eyes is nice, so having a little nothing on the walls is also good sometimes. I imagine there's going to be a lot of studying going on, a lot of sitting at a desk in your room. So I'm going to recommend a smaller desk to go right here where this cabinet was. It's always nice to have a little bit of natural light whenever you're working. It's also nice to remember that you're a human when you're working, and if you're stuffed into a dark corner, you kind of forget that you are a person. I'm going to add another surface in here though, that way there's another option of a place to work, but I think it would not only look nice, but be nice to work at if you had a desk in between those windows. It would also allow the light to kind of filter into that area, because with that big cabinet there's not a whole lot of light connection happening. For this, I'm going to add a teeny little skinny lamp. You could also get one of those clip-on lamps that clip to the side of a desk. That way you can kind of move it around and it's not taking up any of the surface area, which would actually probably be nicer. So maybe whenever I edit this, I'll add a little clip-on lamp. You could put the shelves here too. Maybe 2 or 3, and then you could put your books up there or like a candle. You could also lean some art up against the wall if you had shelves there. This little thing that's closest to the door is a mini fridge, and I've never lived in student housing, but I imagine that a lot of their rooms have a mini fridge. So we're gonna operate with the assumption that this mini fridge needs to be here, or that a mini fridge needs to be here. And instead of being on this wall where you see it like this second you walk into the door, I'm gonna move it to this other wall just to float an idea here. Something where you could put the mini fridge like underneath it, drill a little hole in the back, or just remove the backing. And then you could run a cord, plug it under the wall, it would be concealed, it wouldn't look bad. But also, you know, sometimes things just have to look bad. Sometimes you don't get what you want. If the mini fridge has to be visible, that's fine too. You could, you know, put some stuff on top of it, some little decorations. It's not hideous. It's not the worst thing in the world. The worst thing in the world would be not having a room at all. Plus, if you're a student, you probably don't have the money to be like getting custom pieces and stuff and finding the perfect thing. You're just working with what you have. Just in an ideal world, it would be covered with something cute. And then over here on this wall, I don't know what that thing is. That's got the like hooks and stuff and the little like DJ mixing thing there. All that's gone in my mind. Instead, there's a dining table with some comfortable chairs. And then on that wall, you could get like a really big piece of art. Even if you're not that creative and don't have a lot of money, you could get a really, really big piece of, what is that called? The like cardboardy paper, the brown paper, the stuff that makes that like incredible noise when you crinkle it. What is that called? Do you know what I'm talking about? The like paper bag paper. Okay, you can get that stuff. Draw some random crap on it and stick it to the wall. I think that would still look good. Or, you know, a piece of unstretched canvas would look really good. Then you don't have to worry about framing. You don't need to worry about finding a really big frame at a thrift store or, you know, getting one professionally made or whatever. But I think a really big piece of art on this wall could look good. There needs to be one more lamp in here of some sort. We could do a hanging pendant, nothing hardwired. Just put a little hook in the ceiling. I really wish I knew. There's so many things I don't know, you know? I wish I knew what their lifestyle was like. I wish I knew how many outlets were in the room. I wish I knew what their style was, but unfortunately I don't, and we're just going off of what I can rationalize. Yeah, I think that looks nice. And I think I'm done. I don't think I need to do anything else here. I'm done. The lighting is getting weird because we're actually currently experiencing what may or may not be a hurricane. I don't know. It looks like it's probably gonna downpour very soon. I'm getting tired. I need a nap. I can't take a nap. I have a lot to do. I need to make dinner. I'm getting hungry. I need to drink more water. I'm very thirsty. And I will talk to you next time. I hope you had fun. I hope you had a good time. If you enjoyed watching this, let me know. That way I know that you're cool with it and that I could potentially make more depending on how difficult the aftermath of this is for me, because I am gonna have to edit those pictures. I don't know how long that's gonna take. I am a perfectionist despite what they say. I will talk to you later, buddy. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time. Let me know what you want to see, please. If you didn't like this, or if you did, just like tell me if there's anything you want to see from me, because that could be very helpful. I have ideas, but I kind of question myself on whether or not they're things anybody else wants to watch, which is a whole dilemma in and of itself, because I'm constantly torn between like what do the people want and like what do I want to do, you know? So just let me know. know. It doesn't hurt anybody. It actually only helps everyone. Okay, stay safe out there. And I will talk to you next time. Bye. Is this still going? Yeah. I inhaled that smoke. Oh, the smoke smells good though.